For the first time in the Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon world, we're heading to a location called the Stepstones. And they're exactly what they sound like. Nothing but a bunch of little islands in between the continent Westeros and Essos. While most big players in the story like to suck up all the land around them in conquest, no king or ruler has put much effort when it comes to the Stepstones. That's cause these dozen or so tiny islands are described as bleak and stony, and the Stepstones are constantly hit with big storms coming from the surrounding sea. Not worth the trouble to go to war over land with no resources. But thousands of years back, before the Stepstones were islands, this was a very important location. It was a solid landmass used as a bridge that the first men utilized to migrate from Essos to Westeros for the very first time. Before humans, it was just giants and children of the forest hopping around Westeros. People ruined their existence, emulating what happened with the Europeans colonizing the West. The children of the forest population and homes were dwindling, so decided to blow up the land bridge with their magic. It worked for a while, till humans learned to sail. It was GG from there. But they created the Stepstones, and since then, it's been the home for various pirates. Pirates are a pretty big nuisance in this world, especially for merchants and their trading ships. So the only real reason anyone ever bothers with the Stepstones is to clear the pirates out. That's if their numbers get a little too big. Only 3 of these dozen islands are named in any of the lore books. The largest island, called Bloodstone, pretty cool name. 2 others, called Grey Gallows, and Torturer's Deep. That one sounds terrifying. The reason House of the Dragon is so focused on the Stepstones, especially going into the 3rd episode, after that dramatic scene between Daemon and Corlys Velaryon, is cause trade is being disrupted worse than ever before. Business has been booming for the past few decades for Corlys, aka the Sea Snake. He's the greatest world-traveling sailor in all the story, and he made sure to bring some goods from every exotic location he visited. Some spices here, some elephants there. He quickly became the richest man in Westeros. House of Velaryon's island, called Driftmark, is located right here, near the Targaryen's island, Dragonstone. If you want to go to some places on Essos, or even the Summer Isles to the south, you gotta pass through the Stepstones. Dealing with pirates is one thing. Some assholes trying to hop aboard is to be expected. But what's going on in House of the Dragon is very different. The pirates are all gone. 3 cities in Essos, who at times are at each other's throats, have made common cause in this era. Lys, Myr, and Tyrosh, all former colonies founded by Valyrian dragon lords. These 3 free cities, that now rule over themselves after Valyria's destruction, have come together in an alliance called the Triarchy. While Myr is on the coast of the mainland Essos, Lys and Tyrosh are islands very close to the Stepstones, so they regularly clear out pirates out of their dens. But this time, they thought to conquer the Stepstones instead, permanently solving this problem. A solution that the rich and powerful men from the 7 Kingdoms were cool with. Better to have civilized people there instead of outlaws trying to take your shit and sell you to the slave trade. The Triarchy's invasion was led by a Myrish Prince Admiral named Cregas Dahar, but everyone just calls him Crabfeeder for how he dealt with the pirates. Thank God, because I don't want to say his name ever again. He got the name Crabfeeder by staking out hundreds of captured pirates on wet sands to drown them beneath the rising tide. So I don't know if any crabs were actually involved in their deaths. Maybe after they died, the crabs got a few nibbles in. Very different from the torture he enacted in House of the Dragon. This psycho doesn't look like a prince, but Crabfeeder brought order and everyone approved. For their efforts and new ownership of advantageous sea passage, the Triarchy demanded a toll of any ship traveling through their waters. Again, the rich and powerful men from the 7 Kingdoms were cool. A small price to pay to be rid of the pirates and everything they cost them. But then the toll was raised, again and again and again. They got so greedy with the fees that merchants who once gladly paid now tried to slip past toll stops like they used to try and avoid pirate ships. The Triarchy became just as bad as the pirates if you refused to pay. The niece of a prominent lord in the Stormlands was taken and sold to a whorehouse in Lys. Lord Corlys suffered the most from these practices because of his huge fleet. Again, a little different from what's going on in House of the Dragon prequel. Crabfeeder's much more of a villain in the show, so he's having Corlys' men tortured to death. In both the lore books and House of the Dragon, Corlys is adamant about putting an end to the Triarchy's rule over the Stepstones. He found an ally in Prince Daemon Targaryen, who is no longer the king's heir after his heir for a day comment about the king's dead baby. The restless rogue prince needed gold and glory that victory in this kind of war would bring him. Episode 3 kicks off their secret war for the Stepstones against Crabfeeder and the Triarchy backing him. Obviously, I won't talk about the result of the war. No one likes to be spoiled, right? So I'll end things here. House of the Dragon already added more characterization than the books ever bothered with for the minor character Crabfeeder. So let's see how they handle the battle scenes. Should be hype. Miguel Sapochnik is one of the showrunners. Battle scenes are his thing. See you guys for the episode 3 discussion. Later days.